I never thought I'd be saying this, Steeler Nation, but Mason Rudolph is once again a Pittsburgh Steeler. That's right, you are hearing it right. Breaking news here on Steelers Talk. Mason Rudolph, the backup quarterback, is back in the Steel City. Can't wait to break it down with you here on this breaking news edition of Steelers Talk. But first, this is why you subscribe to the channel and you turn on your notifications. Whenever breaking news hits, you're going to want to know about it if you are a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So if you want to stay in the loop on every single move the Steelers make, they're having Kwon Alexander in for a free agency visit this week. When that news hits, if it hits, we're going to have a video for you. So do me a favor right now, click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you know whenever breaking news hits for your Pittsburgh Steelers. So now let's get into this, man. Mason Rudolph is back. The longtime backup quarterback for your Pittsburgh Steelers has re-signed, I'm assuming, to a low-level kind of backup quarterback, maybe vet minimum deal here. No details have come out in terms of length, in terms of contract details. The news just broke, and I'm guessing it's probably 1 year on the vet minimum to be to compete with Tanner Morgan for that third quarterback spot when it comes time to hash that out, right? Mason Rudolph, somebody that has a lot of experience with this Steelers roster, with the different receivers, has had some experience with Deontay Johnson and crew. He had a pretty darn good camp last year. They told him last season that he was going to have a shot to win the starting job, and it never really seemed like he had his fair shot. Had a very good training camp, had played very well in the preseason games, and yet was kind of delegated to that quarterback 3 spot all season long. And everything that I was hearing around Mason Rudolph was that he was done with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there was no way he was going to return to Pittsburgh, and he was going to start fresh somewhere else and try to win himself a starting spot eventually, or somewhere at least as a backup. And that just never came to fruition during this offseason. He's going to be back with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there are some juicy rumors surrounding Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Tanner Morgan, and that cornerback room, or that quarterback room. Can't wait to break it down with y'all here in just a second. But first, let me know what your one-word reaction is to this news. I thought there was no way Mason Rudolph was going to be back with the Steelers, but let me know what your one-word reaction is to this signing in the comment section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here, just take advantage of that time. Go down there in the comment section and find that pinned comment. It's that top comment, and answer today's question. Give me your one word. My one word is I am shocked. I thought there was no freaking way they were going to bring back Mason Rudolph. I thought they might go get somebody else, like maybe a Carson Wentz or, some of these other quarterbacks that are on the market. But it seems like the Steelers, they haven't seen enough out of Tanner Morgan or Bryce Perkins as of yet. And it looks like they want to bring back somebody that knows the offense, that has experience in this quarterback room. Now, obviously, Kenny Pickett is solidly your quarterback 1 going into next year. Nobody's taking that mantle from him. A first-round pick last season, showed some good things last year, no doubt about that. Then you got Mitchell Trubisky, who, came in and, it was very up and down throughout the season. He delivered a comeback or an upset victory over the Bengals in week 1, but was very up and down throughout the season. Had 3 picks in that awful game against the Baltimore Ravens. And then you bring in Mason Rudolph back here to be that quarterback 3. And Tanner Morgan, I've been hearing some good things about Morgan in camp and rookie minicamp over the weekend. Same thing with Bryce Perkins, even though he is not officially signed to the roster just yet. And I want to talk a little bit about Mitchell Trubisky, because if you like Tanner Morgan, if you brought him in, you think he has a legitimate shot to be your quarterback 3, it's certainly possible that Mitchell Trubisky could be on his way out, because he's got a very, very large contract for a backup quarterback. And if the Steelers want to go get somebody in free agency, if they need to add some cap space here, they could absolutely do that. And because of that, with the addition of Rudolph, with how well Morgan is doing in camp apparently, Trubisky could be in trouble here, guys. I'm not even joking. He could absolutely be a post-June 1st cut candidate. And if the Steelers cut him, they can save $8 million in cap space. You're telling me you couldn't sign Kwon Alexander and maybe a Kyle Van Noy, 2 linebackers, and add that to your defense with $8 million? I think they could absolutely pull that off. I think it kind of depends on how much they like Mitchell Trubisky, whether or not Trubisky's willing to take a pay cut, how much they like Mason Rudolph, and how much they like Tanner Morgan. It's just going to be a weird puzzle to figure out here for the Pittsburgh Steelers over the next couple of weeks and months, trying to figure this out, because there are definite benefits to cutting Mitchell Trubisky. Now, if I'd have my choice, if Kenny Pickett, God forbid, got hurt, would I want Mitchell Trubisky or Mason Rudolph in the lineup? I'd personally rather have Trubisky. I think that, is he worth the $10+ million that the Steelers are paying him coming into next season? That's a different discussion. But, if I have to pick somebody to be the backup quarterback, money aside here, I would have to pick Mitchell Trubisky. But you can't deny that $8 million in extra cap space could definitely help the Steelers make some nice additions here post-NFL draft. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers cut Mitchell Trubisky this offseason? Type Y if you think yes, or type N if you think no. Let me know what you think in the comment section. So now I want to talk a little bit about Tanner Morgan, because the undrafted free agent out of Minnesota apparently played very well during rookie minicamp this weekend. I put him on my list of winners on my winners and losers rookie minicamp video. Went out earlier today, actually, so after this video, go ahead and check that out. But Morgan apparently played very well. He played better than Bryce Perkins, and apparently, going out of camp, he was expected to be that main guy for that quarterback 3 spot going into training camp, with Bryce Perkins trying to usurp him. But now this move to go and get Mason Rudolph, it kind of just puts the wind out of his sails in that regard. I think the most likely scenario is that the quarterback room for the Steelers is going to look exactly the same as it did last year, with Kenny Pickett as your first guy, your starter. Then you got your Mitchell Trubisky there as your first backup, and then you have Mason Rudolph as that kind of reliable third option, emergency type quarterback situation where, he comes in, he's a solid veteran, he's played for a long time, he has chemistry with these receivers, he has chemistry with Pickett and Trubisky, he knows the playbook, all these different things. And I think that if Rudolph comes in, if something happens to both Trubisky and Pickett, then, Rudolph could be a solid option. Now, Rudolph, to me, what's definitely interesting about this one is that Rudolph is somebody that said that he was pretty much done with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Mark Kaboly from The Athletic has been very, very clear on this. Whenever, in all of his writing and all of his radio appearances, he has said time and time again, he's talked with Mason and he is done with the Steelers. So I think for him to come back here, I think there might be something sweet in this deal for Mason Rudolph, potentially a quarterback 2 spot. If the Steelers are telling him, hey, if you come back, we'll cut Trubisky, you can be our first backup. I think that's something that Rudolph would definitely take a look at and say, that might be something that entices me here to come back to the city of Bridges. So let me know what you guys think about this signing in the comment section. Grade it for me. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. Tell me what you guys think and grade this signing. For me, my grade is going to be a B. Now, I don't know the length. I don't know the contract details. I don't know how much they're paying Mason, and I don't know what their next step is. And I think overall here, this grade might change depending on what the Steelers end up doing in the coming hours, days, and weeks. But I think that Mason Rudolph, if you're bringing him in as that third quarterback option, I think he's got a way better arm than Tanner Morgan. He's got way more experience than Tanner Morgan. I would much rather have Mason Rudolph as that third quarterback as opposed to Tanner Morgan, who I just don't think is a true NFL caliber quarterback. With Mason Rudolph, at least I can be somewhat comfortable with him in the offense, playing at an NFL level. But with Tanner Morgan, with his lack of arm strength, with his lack of experience, I'm just not too confident in Morgan, despite apparently his great performance during rookie minicamp. So I think that if this is for a QB3 option here, I'm going to give it a B. I don't know all the details, so I can't give it a true A grade, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the Steelers do at the quarterback position in the coming hours, days, weeks, and months. Mitch Trubisky could be on his way out, which would be an absolute bombshell, given that we haven't heard much on the Mitchell Trubisky front for a while. We talked about him a lot over the first couple of weeks of the offseason, first couple months there, talking about a potential pay cut, talking about trading him, talking about potentially cutting him, and now we could potentially see that coming to fruition after the fact here, where we thought that he was safe. We thought he was going to be the bona fide QB2 on this roster, and now that's starting to come into question. If I'd have to bet, I would still think Trubisky is going to be here as that first option to back up Kenny Pickett, but at this point, all bets are off. He could absolutely be cut here by the end of the season. Go ahead and click that subscribe button for me right now. If you want extensive Steelers coverage all offseason long, we're going to be covering OTAs, of course, training camp. Every time the Steelers make a big move, Steelers could be signing a couple linebackers over the next couple weeks. Mitchell Trubisky could be cut. If those things happen, we are going to have you covered here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications.